I'm Neilden.
I'm John.
I'm Phil.
I'm Brandon.
I'm Thomas.
I'm Raz, and this is the Dirty Sliders podcast. This week we're going to hit on some different things. Racing legend getting a big win, some late model shenanigans or alleged shenanigans, a driver who should never ever be allowed on a racetrack ever again, and probably going to do some jail time over what he did. We're going to talk about some controversy about pay-to-play drivers and is social media getting them on the track, things like that. We'll go through what our local sliders here did over the race weekend Saturday, and we'll probably go off the dirt and do some F1 action, some other things. All right, Neilden, start us off with your story you built up here.
So, you guys know I'm Mopar No Car, right? So, I got to say a big shout out to my boy, Kasey Kahne, driver of the number 9 Dodge for Reimer Motorsports when Dodge came back in 2003. He got his first win with World of Outlaws at Williams Grove this weekend after 227 World of Outlaws starts. He actually started with World of Outlaws back in 97, so he's been playing in the dirt for quite a while. He was in the 39N for Macri Motorsports because Anthony Mackie's out with an injury and he was just a fill-in driver, kind of with this, well, he could do an all right job. We're not expecting anything great, but, he gives deep fish, keep the points up, and then here he comes out with a win. So, because we definitely know he didn't have bad equipment with his own team, considering he has 5 championships as an owner with Brad Sweet. But something with him and that Macri Motorsports 39N has been clicking because, he clicked it off Friday night with a win. No high limits win yet, but, it's Kasey Kahne. He's bounced around. You know him from Reimer Motorsports. You know him from NASCAR with Hendrick Motorsports. And I just found out, I knew he was doing okay, but looking at the Wikipedias and stuff like that, has more money than I thought he did. Yeah, he was a Cup driver, but he wasn't a champion or anything like that. But, they're saying like 30 racks. So, yeah. I knew he had 10s. I didn't know he had tens of 10s. So, congratulations for being a racer and making money while still racing. Because, I think all of us in here, anytime we get any money and go racing, we lose that money. We have fun, but we lose that money. So, congrats to him. Because he's never been married. He's got 2 kids, but never married. So, maybe that's the hint. I don't know. Yeah, 2. Yes, Thomas. My research shows 2.
No.
No?
Not to that. Something else. You're good.
Oh, like your face said he got kids?
I think he just got married though, like a year or so ago.
Oh, I didn't find a wedding.
Anyway,
he's with Amy
that's
Long
not important.
Currently. They had a kid in 20.
They've been together for a while.
21, something like that.
But I think that's awesome. He went through some struggles, medical, physical struggles. His head wasn't right. Let's call it what it is. The boy had got his bell rung one too many times or one time too hard, and it was like the Rosemary Kibibby syndrome from Knott's Berry Farm. The lights were on, but nobody was there. And I know it was a struggle for him. I saw him at Chili Bowl, and we were pitted right next to him, and he was not the Kasey Kahne I saw on TV. I'll tell you that. He struggled with some speech stuff and seemed a little spacey at times. But yeah, awesome to hear him get that win for Macri. And also hear Macri's getting better and looking to get back in the car soon. Phil, you had something on that?
Actually, you touched on it already. I was going to ask if he was the driver that had the blood problem or was his a brain injury, but you covered it for me. Thanks, Raz.
Well, I think he had the salt issue also, didn't he? Where he couldn't do long stints?
I thought there was something where when he was in the car that he would get real hot in the car and he couldn't, or something was going on where he would. I thought there was something with him where he ended up getting out of the car because of his fatigue or something like that. But if it was the brain injury thing, I can understand that.
Yeah, when he was finishing up his career at Levine Family, his retirement year, he had his season cut short because he couldn't get in the car because his body couldn't handle the heat. He wasn't able to withstand the heat, and he would come out of the car essentially with heat stroke. And so they sidelined him, and that was it.
Wasn't there a couple times they actually had to take him to the infield care center to get him
Mhm.
cooled off and get IVs in him? Yeah, that's
Yep.
what I thought. Okay, I was wondering. Yeah, cool. Well, not cool for Kasey, but
No.
hey, there's something going on up there.
Get it, man. Get it.
Yeah, if I remember right, it was something where his body wouldn't regulate its own temperature.
Right.
So it was a weird problem. I know that he worked with Gatorade on a bunch of stuff with that, and they tried all kinds of stuff. They cool suits and the whole nine yards, and it just didn't work. I think it works for him in sprint cars because he's in the car for a lot less physical time. I'm not saying that the exertion's there, but it's just he's not constantly getting heat soaked for hours at a time like he was in NASCAR.
Well, and an
wonder if
open
that's also
cockpit versus a
because-
closed
Anyway,
cockpit.
congrats to
That's what I was going to say. I
Yeah.
wonder if open cockpit versus closed cockpit, and then also racing the majority of the races at night.
congrats to Kasey Kahne and the Macri Motorsports crew. I think that's an awesome job.
Now go get some more.
Yeah.
You ain't done yet, bud.
Yeah, I'll get some more. That'd be cool. We put a couple back to back. Sticking with dirt. Brandon had a story about some late model drivers doing some shenanigans.
Well, I wouldn't necessarily say shenanigans because it happens all the time, and most of the time it's the fans that are crying because probably their local driver's not getting, the win or something. And I'm talking about Superman, Jonathan Davenport, going to Batesville for the Bad Boy 98 Comp Cams late model race over the weekend. He swept the weekend there, but everybody's crying that he's cherry picking this and that. But if you think about it, at the beginning of the season, he said he was going to do a pick and choose schedule this year. Instead of chasing a full-time national tour, he was going to just pick and choose where he wanted to run, have the freedom to do what he wants to do, spend some time at home, do things, regional, just stuff that he's not locked down. He can just kind of go with the flow. The deal is if you really think about it, Lance Landers, the team owner, his shop is pretty much in Batesville. It's pretty much his hometown track. So are the sponsors for the Landers Motorsports 49 car. Most of their sponsors are local to Batesville. That's where the shop's at. So when they do big races at Batesville, Jonathan Davenport shows up. And it's not that he's there to cherry pick. He's pretty much protecting the backyard if you think about it. Your shop's here. Your sponsors are here. Employees are here. Your customers are here. So it's not, cherry picking in my mind. It's, hey, they're coming to our backyard and we got to defend our house, So it's kind of the way I look at it. Fans are, oh, he just pulling in, cherry picking these things. But if you look at all of his wins this year, he's won Lucas Oil races this year. Golden Isle, to be exact, right? He swept, if I'm not mistaken, he swept some Golden Isle stuff. That's 3 consecutive wins down there. And it's not like anywhere you travel to, it's not like it's a free give me race, right? So if you think, just talking over this weekend, for example, Kay Dillard was there, Ethan Dotson was there, the defending champion for the Comp Cam series, Billy Moyer Sr. Everybody should know who Billy Moyer Sr. is by now. He was there. So it's not, to me, it's not cherry picking. You hear it all the time from like Kyle Larson, for example. He jumps in a car at a local show somewhere or charity style event and, oh, he's cherry picking. Or, anybody really that's on a national tour, they show up to a local track, say the national tour got rained out and Ryan Gustin's in Marshalltown and there happens to be a race and somebody comes up with a modified for him. Oh, he's cherry picking. No, not really. These guys race for a living. And if you look at Jonathan Davenport, how much money has that guy won in his career? Wasn't it just in a couple years ago he won over $1 million, $1.7 million or something for the year? So I mean, in my opinion, it's let the guy do what he wants to do. He already said he wasn't chasing a full-time series. Anywhere he goes is going to be called cherry picking if he's not racing national tour cars. is crazy. The guy wants to pick and choose where he races. He wants to race at home. Let him race, and it's not a big deal. What do you guys think about that? I know I seen Sober. I seen your finger up. I seen Phil. I seen Bridger. Phil, you go first.
Oh man, that's totally inappropriate because back in the 60s and 70s, drivers didn't run championship series. They ran where the money was because that's how they were putting food on the table for their family. And in upstate New York, that's how a lot of those guys. I mean, one of the greatest asphalt modified drivers, Richie Evans. Uh, that's exactly what he did. He would look and see where the big money races were. It's not cherry picking. Guy races. He enjoys racing. Let him run. Who cares? Fans, if you got a problem with it, go buy a car and get out of the stands, get on the track, and stay at your local track then. Let that guy who's racing to make money go race where he wants.
Yeah.
That's my take.
Well, what I was going to say when you were talking about that, let him race where he wants to race. There's fans of, certain drivers like Ricky Thornton Jr. He's got a huge following of people. And whenever he says, hey, is there any tracks racing in the area? We got rained out. Anybody got something going on? Every fan of his says, this track, this track, this track, this track. And it's not cherry picking when you got a guy like that showing up when you're the fan of him. But when you're not a fan of his, it seems like everybody wants to, complain. So, Soper, what do you got on that deal?
Well, it's very similar to what Phil said, so I'm not going to beat that horse. I mean, you don't fund your race team unless you're out racing and winning. So if he's not going to run a national schedule, let him go run where he wants to run. That's what he's doing. That's what he wants to do. But he won over $2 million 3 or 4 years ago because he had $1 million in season winnings and then also won the Eldor $1 million on top of it. So there's that infamous $2 million year that he had. So, I mean, guy's no slouch. He's damn good no matter where he goes. He said he was going to do this from the beginning, so don't be surprised when he shows up at your little bitty track in bumfuck nowhere and tries to put a whooping on all your boys.
Yeah, and that's so. What I was going is, I actually saw a post on the Dirt Behind the Scenes that made sense. One, like Brandon said, it's his home track, it's his sponsor's track. It's you got to go defend that. But also, 32 grand that he won goes a long way with the price of diesel. So not traveling makes that go a lot longer. So, oh, Phil's shaking his head. No,
It does not.
no, okay, it doesn't
Diesel's
go as
too
far as it
expensive
used
now.
to. Right. But that's what he's saying essentially is don't travel from Iowa to, Arizona, Texas. Stay close.
Right.
You can get more races in.
Well, this goes back to the 70s because this was how it used to be. Was there would be that hired gun, they would call him the hired gun or ringer or whatever. He would show up at the local track and just wax everybody, like just put a hurting on them. And they, people would scream about it then, this guy, and then a lot of times what would happen is a guy like that would show up at the track and the promoter would put a bounty on it. Whoever can beat this guy, I'll pay you $500 or whatever, a legit bounty, not, hey, take this guy out. It was, just beat him. And it made things exciting for the locals. I don't have a problem with what Davenport's doing. He's doing his own thing. He decided he didn't want to do the grind of a tour and wants to just do things a little easier. Hey, more power to him. I don't see what people are complaining about.
Like I said, it's usually the local fans that are butthurt that their local driver didn't get the job done. But, I mean, you can go to any track across America right now, and all the locals know who their track guy is. This is our best guy. And when somebody comes and beats that guy, they're, whoa, this guy, he's got to be cherry picking, our guy's really good, and this guy's got to be cheating or, something. Oh, it's all his money. That's why he won. It's all his money, It just happens across America. It's usually, like I said, and most of those fans that were saying that happen to be following another tour driver that happens to be the smooth one of those guys that operates,
Yeah, he's got a good car number too.
Back when Cajon was running, they used to do a fundraiser race every year, and they would bring in NASCAR Cup drivers, and they would use one of the locals' cars. So there'd be 4, 6 of these Cup drivers driving the locals' cars in their own little race. And the thing was, we'd be standing on the fence in the pits watching these guys, and these Cup drivers are driving the same car that was just racing last week 100 feet deeper into the turns. Because, hey, you know what? They're pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yep.
So from that, we go to a guy who just lost his ever-loving mind at the racetrack. John,
Yes.
tell us about that.
Yes, he did. So, if you follow dirt racing at all, you probably heard about the I-75 Raceway incident and shenanigans this weekend. So I got some video we can share here real quick. If I can share, hang on. Go back to you guys. It's been a while. We're not experts. Video, share. There we go. So this is a drone view of the incident. We see the 24 car coming in the hot pits here. There'd been an incident. He rams a 17, knocks his track guys down on the other side. And then chaos ensues as per the norm. So, like I say, this is at I-75 Speedway out there in Tennessee. The driver in the 17 is Matt Henderson. The driver in the 24 is Greg Martin. Now, they had gotten together on track a little earlier and had some damage, and Matt owned up to it. I mean, Matt came out and said, hey, I slid up into him, but we raced for 3 laps before that. If I was going to wreck him intentionally, I was going to do it before 3 laps in. Matt says he got into some slime, and he put this on Facebook also. Never mind, I can't share that. Anyways, he put it on Facebook. Look up Matt Henderson. He put it on there and said, hey, that's on me. I slid up. I got in the slime off of 3. I came up and touched him. We went to the hot pits. I'm sorry. But to come in like that and just hit my car, not acceptable. The 2 guys that were on the right side of that car were his pit crew, just helping, try and get him fixed. One guy had a bunch of bruised ribs, ended up with 8 staples in his head. As far as I can tell, the other one's okay. He made it out with minor injuries. But that's just not acceptable. I mean, we've all been on the bad end of racing incidents, right? One guy slips up, he forgets to turn his wheel a little hard, and next thing you know, you're in the wall. Drive by him, flip him off, call him whatever you want to call him, but that's just assault right up. And old Greg, who apparently they call Skinny, I don't know, everybody has a nickname back then, but Skinny was arrested and charged with a Class C felony in Tennessee of aggravated assault because a car is a deadly weapon. So he's facing some legal battles and some possible jail/prison time. So what do you guys think about that? What's your just not like I don't know what we all think, but let's throw it out
Hang
there.
'em high.
Soper, what do you got?
Well, I mean, I'm not going to get into the other part of it because you guys will bring it up. But how in the world that guy did not get drug out of that car and get the absolute tar beat out of him in front of everybody is beyond me. Because that's how that happens.
Yeah, exactly. And apparently the only way he stopped was the guy that was in front of the 17 who owns the 17 car ran over and hit his, master switch and basically shut his car off. And then, yeah, he should have been drug out and shown a lesson. Brandon, what do you got, buddy?
How does the track only come up with a 2-year suspension for something like that? If somebody does that, they have no business being at the racetrack, and that should be a lifetime ban.
Correct. So digging into it deeper because it's all coming out today, but that was not a track decision. I actually found a post on Facebook from one of the track workers, volunteers, which Brandon, you know a lot about. We all know a lot about. Getting messages and why'd you do this? Why? And that was all on the best plumbing 604 late model series. It was the series that came up with that suspension, not the track. And apparently all the DQs that happened, the arrests, that was all the series. The track had nothing to do with that.
So quick
Yes, Brandon.
follow up. So what you're saying is the series rented the track and the track had no overall part of that.
It seems like that might be part of it. Yeah, because there was a lot of late models that night there. And yeah, that's all on the series. At least everybody's saying it's on the series. All those decisions were from the series, not the track. Raz.
Oh, for me, it's pretty simple. Lifetime ban. Lifetime ban from the track, from the series. You got no business here. And if I'd have been involved in that, where I'm working on a car and somebody comes and hits the car I'm working on, I'd have climbed in the cockpit with that dude.
Yeah.
It's just 10 out of 10. I'm gonna test his Hans device, his helmet, his belts. There's just no place for that on a track, particularly when it comes to crew members who have zero protection. They're not wearing any safety gear. They're not protected by a roll cage. Very, very vulnerable, and obviously he hurt people. So I don't know how Skinny feels about it now. I hope he's got some remorse about his actions. But there's just no place for it. And like I said, even if he comes out with a heartfelt apology, well,
yeah,
appreciate the apology, but you're still
exactly
banned.
too late. Let me see. Skinny don't look happy in his arrest picture. Let me see if I can actually get to where I can share that. Have you guys have all seen it? Yeah. Skinny don't look happy in his arrest picture.
Who would have thought you'd be happy in an arrest picture?
Yeah, I can't share, but look it up.
That's
You
so
can
much you're
find
getting
it
arrested
easy.
for.
Yeah, I mean, it was apparently from the booking time. It's like 2 a.m, so who knows? He might have gotten a few semi-ass beatings before the actual arrest went down.
That is definitely
Yes,
possible.
Phil.
Yeah, dude. Another part of it could be is maybe some people maintain their temperament, knowing that what he just did was going to get him in the silver bracelets. But I agree. You know what? That guy has no business being at a racetrack behind the wheel of a race car, because race car drivers are type A personalities. We rub each other wrong. I mean, I am good friends with each and every one of you. And Raz and Neildon and I have had some nose-to-nose, knockdown, drag-out, intense, come close to throwing blows arguments.
Never
And
happened.
We're friends. We're friends. We're brothers. So that dude does not, if he can't control himself and he's going to do that, and I don't care what series you're in, you're gone for life. And that guy Skinny, I hope you spend a few years in jail for what you did. Or at least I hope you get convicted. I hope you get sentenced. And if they do a, what do they call that?
Conditional
Probation.
Probation, whatever. If you screw up, you go back to jail. And I hope if he does get probation, I hope it's a long one, 10-year probation, because what he did, absolutely wrong.
Yeah.
Community service, clean up grandstands at a racetrack that he can't race at.
Porta potties.
The races are over.
And he can't come in
Watch
until
the
after the
races.
races.
Yeah.
Porta potties after Raz has had chili cheese fries.
Oh
Yeah.
God.
Can you
Okay,
imagine
that's
if
a little rude.
tonight the porta potties are cleaned by Skinny after the races? Be the worst damn porta potties you ever saw. Go, Brandon.
Funny story about Raz and some chili cheese fries. We was at Ventura Raceway for a sprint car race, and he went to the bathroom and asked him how to get there. And when I walked in, obviously the guy walked in right after Raz came right back out, and he's like, "I am not going in there."
Well, we all got some funny stories about
Hey.
chili cheese fries and Raz. I remember one time he stood by John Kremp's Parker pumper and violated John Kremp's helmet.
From the outside.
He had it coming.
He did. He did. He did.
All right. Well, then that comes to my story that I want to talk about. This is going to take us off the dirt, because as far as I know, this racer has never raced on the dirt. It's strictly an asphalt racer. But in the NASCAR, it was truck race at Watkins Glen. Am I right, Neilton? So Natalie Decker was 9 seconds a lap off the pace. And NASCAR said, you're not making minimum speed. Get your butt off the track. You're a rolling roadblock. And then, so the internet had their say, and some said, Parker forever and this and that. And then, the obvious comparison, people are getting on Cletus McFarland, or Garrett Mitchell, his real name, about what he's doing in NASCAR, because he's only there because he's an internet personality and he's paid to play. He's paying for the ride. He doesn't have the talent, shouldn't be out there. Well, you just described Natalie Decker. She's out there because she has a big social media following. She brings some sponsors, and she buys her rides, which that's kind of the way the world is today in NASCAR racing in any of the three or four series, really, including ARCA. You're going to pay to get in that seat unless you're Kyle Larson or somebody like that. So that's how it happens. So because she has such a big social media following, she's out there, and she got out qualified by 2 different female drivers who didn't make the race. Destiny Spurlock, who's a black female driver, and Tony Breidinger, who's another talented driver. So they turned in faster qualifying times than she did, but because their team that she drives for had the owner points, she made the race, and those 2 gals did not. And her lifetime average finish in the NASCAR 4 series, ARCA, Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup. Well, she's never raced Cup as far as I know. Her average finish is 33rd.
Oof.
They only allow 36 vehicles in the race. I mean, I'm pretty sure I could finish 33rd. But she's got a history, and I'm going to go through a couple of these. She has had some pretty famous incidences. This is the one that gets me. This is the one that I think she has no business being on the track.
What did you steal?
Oh, great. Let's go through the ad.
From Steven Spielberg. All that started, and I'm not sure he got real heavy damage.
Yeah, it looked like Jeb was kind of holding his line right there. I don't know if Ryan knew that he was inside of him, but started to slide down just a little bit. Oh, Sam Mayer gets Brandon Jones. You see Jeremy Clements come in there. You can't stop. When you watch this, one thing that you can't see on the screen is how much oil is all over the track. You hit the brakes, and the brakes work, but the tires just don't stick to the track. Can't slow. Oh, man, that's a late hit. Really late.
8 cars
I
involved.
want to pause that right there. That's Natalie Decker in the 35 car. 16 seconds after the caution came out, she hit Sam Mayer. That's a lifetime.
And a half.
You got 3 business days there to blow up.
That was funny.
That's what Carson Elledge,
That's a late hit.
Dale Earnhardt's granddaughter, said. She had 3 business days. But they're going to play her radio here. I'm going to fast forward to that.
The track. Who the was that? That pisses me off. That hurts so bad. Why the kidding me? That hurts so bad. Why the did he roll up the track? Who the was that? That pisses me off so much. That hurt. Holy
Well, Sam had no brakes, had nothing. There's nothing.
Yeah.
He didn't want to roll.
So, I think
It's somebody
it's
else's
fairly obvious. She
fault.
thinks it would.
It's not mine.
Right. It's, you came in so late, and, there's the old expression, ARCA brakes, and that was not an ARCA race, but, they just can't get on the brakes and get stopped. But, 16 seconds, that track's what, half a lap? You had no business getting in that wreck. Another one, and this is another pretty famous one.
Please somebody have the spotter
I put it
audio
in for the
too.
lulls. I don't.
Oh.
I looked for it, but
Oh.
This, well,
This is not the winner.
I've never been wrecked by a wrecker.
Natalie Decker they're trying to push Natalie Decker off the track after being involved in an incident, and then
Push her onto it.
I think she wanted to turn on the pit road, and the record driver didn't realize that.
Yeah.
So, and she had something to say about that. This video doesn't have her audio, but she came on and says, "Oh my God, why is he going so fast? You know, he's trying to wreck me." So here's the thing: none of us are terribly talented race car drivers, but I'd be willing to bet we could sit behind the wheel of that car and have the record driver do 80 miles an hour, and we're going to do just fine. It's like, okay, here we are.
Yeehaw.
And, you know, from a track cleanup point of view, they cannot cruise around at 30 miles an hour because that's what's comfortable to you inside the car. They're there to clean up that track, and they're gonna hook them and book them. It doesn't really show on TV. It always looks really slow when they're pushing a car off track or towing a car off track. But if you've been to a live event, like they come in there with some steam. Phil, what do you think?
Well, that one there, she came in so late, dude. I mean, the spotter, it should have been in her ear. Well, here's the thing with Natalie Decker. I believe the spotter was in her ear saying, "Slow down, slow down, slow down, slow down." I don't understand. I mean, she came in so late on that. It's unreal. I mean, totally her. 16 seconds. 16 seconds. That's all I'm going to say. 16 seconds. That's a lifetime in a race car.
Yeah, and I'm going to share something else. This is what puts her on the map. Is that, you know, this is this is the kind of crap that puts her on the map. You know, she sexualizes her own appearance in a lot of her posts, which that's her right. She's more than welcome to do that. But when you do crap like that, I think it's disrespectful to other women who are trying to get by on talent. You know, she's not the only attractive woman in racing. You know, Isabella Robusto is a good-looking girl. Jade Avedisian is, you know, a good-looking woman. They're trying to get by on talent. And I think Jade Avedisian, to throw that name out there, I think she's the next big thing. You're going to see some big stuff out of her. She's 19 years old, and she's ready to go. Phil?
And you said something earlier, is, you know, earlier when you're talking about how two other drivers qualified with better times than she did, but because of owner points or whatever, she was able to get in the race. Here's this guy's take on fixing that. No guaranteed spots. The only one that gets a guaranteed spot, I've said it before on the program, the only one that gets a guaranteed spot is last year's champion. He's the only one that can sit there and say, I want this, I'm in no matter what. Everybody else, bring it, and if you didn't make it, next week bring more. Done. None of this guaranteed stuff. And I know it'll never happen because of all the money.
Sober?
I hear what Phil's saying. That's going to be an entire another conversation, so we're just going to leave that one alone. But you go back to Jade Avedisian, she's already in a late model stock car. They've already got her on the cars to her running stuff. You know, she's getting prepped and ready.
And winning.
She's already got a late model stock car. She got a late model stock car victory.
Okay, even better, a victory. And then where is Corey Day, right? He is now an Xfinity or O'Reilly's, what is it? O'Reilly Series winner, coming from dirt track like Jade did, running the late model stock cars, and then he won at Talladega. Like, she's on the same path and trajectory that he's at. And I think, to take it back even further, that's the same way that Kyle Larson came up. Like, they're coming. And, you know, she just needs to have her driver's card pulled. That's just flat out what it is.
Yeah, and so kind of two things, like Phil was pointing out, before the whole charter system and guarantees and blah, blah, blah. I mean, I think, you know, they would bring 42, 43, 50 cars to Daytona, and only, 42 at the time made it in. You either run, if you spin out on your qualifying lap, well, sorry, pack her up and go home. And Cletus, I mean, yes, he's paying to play. RCR's glommed onto him because he's going to help them get more visibility. but he is also trying to do it the right way. He's in ARCA and he's led. He hasn't won yet. He's got some talent in the lower classes. I think he's got some talent driving. He just needs to develop it and get the time in. And I think he's willing to do that, whereas some others are just willing to throw out $500,000 and go race a cup car at Daytona.
Yeah, and I'm going to throw one more thing out there. Let me share this. This is Carson Elledge. She is the granddaughter of Dale Earnhardt Sr., and this is her take. She's a race car driver herself.
Car driver. I don't know how far you intended on taking that. I don't know how far, but that's a world that you're very familiar with. How does this make female drivers look?
Between the taking 3 business days to run into Sam Mayer and the multitude of things I saw on social last week, obviously, while I did not go much further, I've witnessed a lot of women around me who have. It's honestly embarrassing. It's embarrassing for the women who have worked hard to have a place in this sport, to be taken seriously, to be seen as an equal competitor. I mean, there's a lot of us that have made a career, and, you know, like the Taylor Reimers and Isabella Robustos of the world, you know, they are real talented. Jade Avedisian, talented. That's just, it's embarrassing, to be honest, and that's really all I have to say about it.
At some point, you have to realize she probably shouldn't have been approved to begin with.
Yeah.
But she's got 13 starts in the Xfinity Series and an average finish of 29th. The fact that you're averaging almost a 30th place finish is mind-boggling to me. Like, it just shows you she's probably wrecking every time she races, or you know, just multiple laps. She doesn't have a place in that series.
I think if it ever was about results or competition, it stopped being about that quite a long time ago with her.
So, I mean, that's a pretty blunt take, and I appreciate her for it. I agree with what she said. I agree with what Freddie said. It's like she shouldn't be approved, and I think you should, like they talked about doing with Cletus, remove his approval. You know, remove her approval and get her off the track. Put her back in ARCA where she belongs. Let her learn it, or you know, let her go to Instagram and do her Instagram thing. One more whip on this dead horse before I finish. This is Taylor Reimer on X. Taylor Reimer is another talented female driver. And her take is this. I've contemplated whether or not to speak on this, but my heart is telling me I should. I'm going to start off by saying I'm by no means perfect. Nobody is. I got back into racing 5 years ago, and since then I've learned a lot, and I'm still learning every day. With that being said, as a woman in motorsports, I feel it's my responsibility to be a role model for young and upcoming women in this sport. I was a Division I cheerleader in college, and my job was to represent the university at the highest level. Every move you make, someone is watching, on and off the field. The same applies to racing. People are always watching. Sponsors, teams, fans, and kids. I work hard every day to earn respect in this sport. The only way that happens is through on-track performance, and that's my main focus. I look forward to the day when a female driver in racing isn't different. It's expected. I understand how difficult it is to secure sponsorship in the sport. I'm fully funded based on the partners I bring in each year. Basically, what she's saying there is I bring my own sponsors to get in a ride. It's a grind. I know many others are in that same position. I made a promise myself that I would do it the right way. In 10 years, I want to look back and be proud of how I carried myself and hope that I inspired young girls along the way, even if that means I don't make as far in the sport as I hope I do. This is not to bring hate to anyone, but rather to speak on a topic that is important to me. Please be kind. That's how the women feel.
Yeah. She's spot on. She is spot on. I can't stand it when someone sits there and says she's good for a woman or she's a good woman driver. No, if she's a good driver, she's just a good driver.
Right.
That's it. Don't put woman in front of it.
Well, to bring a personal note to this, Neilton and I informally helped out at Paris when Yamaha brought that dirt car that they were prototyping to try to see if they could, you know, get something started. And Yamaha invited a bunch of racers to put on an exhibition race, and they were from all aspects. There was
with social media.
Yeah, with social media, who had social media following, and she was one of them. There was a Japanese drifter, I don't remember his name. There was a motocross racer. Donnie Moran was there. Who else am I forgetting, Neilton?
There was like a half dozen of them.
Anyway, Neilton and I, we knew had a passing association with the guy who built these cars for Yamaha, and was he kind of asked us, to help out, give a little advice to these guys. And we, kneeled him, talked to Donnie Moran, told him, his setup was a little off, and Donnie Moran changed it. We threw an interpreter, talked to the Japanese guy, and was talking about his driving style, and he changed what he was doing. Neil and I both told Natalie Decker, hey, you know what? You need to open up your entry and carry more momentum. This is a motorcycle engine. It doesn't have very much torque. You got to keep the revs up and carry momentum. And she, to our face, told us we didn't know what we were talking about. So at that point, Neil and I walked away. I was like, okay, whatever, Chip.
Later.
Have fun.
Later being dead last.
So, I mean, it's... yeah. And she stunk up the show there. It's I don't have any respect for her as a racer. And I hope NASCAR does something about her. I'll just leave it at that. Anybody else got any closing?
I want to say one
thing,
thing, Neil.
done with her.
Raz, I want to say one thing on that is you would have also lost respect to any racer that spoke to you that way. Not just because it was a female racer. You would have lost respect for any racer who didn't know what they were doing in the genre of racing they were working with, and didn't want to take advice from people who know what they're doing. It's not because she was a female racer. I just want the fans that listen to our podcast to know that we're not attacking her because she's a female racer, and we're not attacking her. She's just not a good racer.
Right. And I think we've all seen people on this podcast not lose respect for people that don't listen when they're trying to help them.
Yes.
Yeah, Neil and I didn't have an agenda. We were legit there trying to help out that whole program. Brandon?
Well, to follow up on Phil's, we're not beating up on a female. We had a rather notorious female racer on our podcast that recently just picked up a win in New Mexico, right? So, I mean, it's nothing against female drivers, but if money's the only way that you're getting into a seat and not...
Put her name out there. She deserves it.
Well, I was getting there. I
think he's trying to get the picture ready.
I was hoping Bridger was pulling that up. That's why I was glancing at it over there. But no, if money's the only way you're getting into a seat, but you're taking up somebody else's seat that's got some talent, like, it's pointless to me. And obviously, since she's been around racing, it's problem after problem. It's usually spotters or crew chiefs or somebody deciding to quit. There it is.
That one?
Christy Barnett getting the dub in the super trucks down there at Vado. Yeah. She was a fan of the podcast, so I had to give her a shout out when we were on the female driver topic. So there's my take on that.
Well, it got alluded in the clips that I was showing that in one of the races she was in, she had Kevin Hamlin as a spotter. Kevin Hamlin's one of the best spotters in the business. He's Cletus's spotter, among others. I forget who else he spots for, but he spots for a ton of people, and he's been doing it forever. He was her spotter, and you could listen to the audio, and he's like, inside. She still came down, and they wrecked. And he goes, I don't know how many effing times I got to say inside before she doesn't come down. He goes, you know what? I'm taking my headset off and I'm off this spotter stand. He walked off the spotter stand in the middle of the race because he was so frustrated with a driver who would not listen to her spotter. The one person, the voice of God, the one person you need to be listening to in a race car.
Mm-hmm. He said, I don't even know why I'm up here.
Can I get a spotter?
Anyway, I think I've thoroughly beat that horse to death.
That horse is decayed.
So, what do you think she's going to do next?
Hiding a little something.
Wreck.
Finish 42nd.
Hiding a little bit something here on the Dirty Sliders podcast. One of our own is going to be helping out behind the scenes on a
first time event.
Groundbreaking first time event. So, Chief Soper, tell us what's going on up there.
So, if you guys haven't heard, because you're living under a rock and watching this podcast, which we appreciate, NASCAR is coming to San Diego to race on the base.
What?
It is Yep. It is. Oops, just unplugged my light. It is happening over the weekend of Juneteenth, June 19th, 20th, and 21st. It is Trucks on Friday, O'Reilly's on Saturday, and Cup on Sunday. There. Now you can see my face again. Sorry, guys. NASCAR has asked my command, Amphibious Construction Battalion 1, to be a part of the groundbreaking ceremony, which takes place next week. We're gonna lay the first couple of barricades and have some equipment out there. There's gonna be some cool stuff. I'm not gonna tell you guys everything. Just kind of leave you with some cliff notes. You can be on the lookout for it. But in those conversations, it has come up that we have offered as to help them build the track in order to give our guys training, right? We're a construction battalion, so we have CBs. They do this kind of stuff, and a lot of these guys are first-time sailors at this place. And being honest with you guys, there's not a whole lot of construction that we do as much as maintaining that we perform. Now we're getting into some projects, but we are going to be assisting NASCAR with the full construction of the track, laying all the barricades, the fencing. NASCAR has learned from other prominent series that raced in Las Vegas that, hey, we need to weld manhole cover shut, so we're going to help them with all that. As a matter of fact, some of these barricades and fencing are coming down from Vegas from that event. I think Phil's going to talk about F1 later, so I'll leave it there. But we are going to start that, like I said, the groundbreaking ceremony next week, or the 26th. So I guess that's 2 weeks from now. And then after that, we're going to start laying all the track out. So I'm really excited to get to do that. I've already had a couple of face-to-face meetings with some NASCAR folks, their track engineer for the race, the Miss Amy Lupo, who is the head for the NASCAR event out here. I'm just beyond stoked for it, to get to work with everybody. And on top of that, they have kind of assigned drivers to the different squadrons and ships and commands around the area. And, we talked about drivers who got their seat in NASCAR from buying it. Well, my command is tied to one Josh Berry, who runs for Wood Brothers Racing. And I don't think anybody here would say that Josh Berry bought his seat.
No.
That boy earned that
seat.
That boy earned that seat the blue collar way, and that's how we're tying that in. We're construction battalion, CBs, and fleet guys. We're hard workers, nose on the grindstone, blue collar, earn it the way we deserve it, the same way he did it. So, lots of really cool stuff. I'll keep the updates coming on the podcast as they start to flow. You probably won't hear nothing until after the groundbreaking ceremony. There's not a lot of actual work being done right now, but I am gonna be a part of history. Building this track and helping it, and then of course the retrograde afterwards.
Yeah.
You gonna take some laps around the track since you're helping putting it together?
Well, I
know
am.
They got a two-seater coming through.
They do have a two-seater coming through. I've got maybe something on that. I'm not going to put it out because I don't want to jinx anything or get anybody's hopes up. But my guys are going to be building the track. So, I'm as being the head guy, kind of in charge of this deal, putting the pieces together, and making sure the folks are doing it. I got to inspect work, right? So, as we're laying the track, I'm going to be driving around, and after we get the track put together, I'm going to have to make rounds and make sure everything's right. Yep. Bill, I saw your hand first.
So when you say you got to inspect to make sure everything's worked, does that mean you're going to go out there and hit the wall as hard as you can?
So we are also putting up tire packs, so those might need to be tested. Neilden, go ahead.
So if my driver loses on Sunday, I get to blame you, right?
Well, that's just it, right? Like if the track goes to shit, now everybody knows who they can blame. But if it doesn't, and it does end up being a really good race, don't forget who you can also blame.
No, all the guilt, none of the pleasure.
Right? Go ahead, Brandon.
Slicks on a sport mod with a gear change, I think, would be pretty cool on TV.
Right.
Gonna need to change the shocks on that, stiffen them up, and keep that rear steer out of the car. Going right ain't gonna be easy.
Hey, so I'm going to bring up a semi-serious question because I did see that they had some engineers out there last week before. dealing with the transitions between the asphalt and the concrete. So are you guys involved in any of that, or is that all NASCAR stuff that they're keeping secret?
No, it's okay. So maybe not full secret, but we kind of know what they're going to do. There are some other areas that are going to possess some challenges. Still trying to figure it out and work through it. And I don't want to put nothing out there because I don't want to make anybody look bad. I mean, we're going to get like 15 views, but watch this one be the one that pops out and gets 10,000 views because we talked about the San Diego race, right? But yeah, there's some challenges. They've got some good ideas. Some stuff that they tried. Some things that they attempted to try didn't quite pan out the way they wanted to. So back to the drawing board, going to figure it out and go again. I was, they like you said, there were some guys there a couple of weeks ago. That was when I was there with those guys. So that's about the time that I saw them. Really, really excited about this whole thing. It also turns out there's a really cool connection. Miss Amy Lupo, her grandfather was a CB, and we're a CB command, so we have that tie-in there. So, yep.
That's cool. That's very cool. So, Neil, since Soper's command is setting up the stands and stuff, let's make sure we don't sit on the ones that Thomas actually worked on.
He's a chief. He's not going to work on any of them.
Well, true. Good
point. Sober, how's your fingers feel? Because you're going to do a lot of pointing.
Actually, if you look at my if you look at my my NWUs, my Type 3 camis, being the 3MC and always being at the computer, looking at maintenance and stuff and whatnot, I have rubbed through the material in my damn sleeves, and I saw that the other day, and I was like, I need to get out of the office more. Holy hell!
It's his right hand for moving the mouse around the arm.
He's got desk wear.
It's very cool. We look forward to some future updates on that, Thomas.
Absolutely.
I know we had some dirty sliders racing this past Saturday. How'd racing go for you guys?
John?
It went pretty well for me. We made some changes to the old number 32. I threw some new wheels and tires at it and actually took one leaf spring out of my right rear. Give me a little more bite coming off the corner. Being rained out a couple weeks ago, the April 25th race, it was my first time driving that car like that. So in the heat, I was learning. I looped it but didn't stop. So I didn't pull out a caution, but didn't finish great in the heat. So that put me 15th starting in the main. And the mains on Saturday night were chaos, right, guys? they were nuts. I don't even think Soper's Sport Mod main made it the whole way. But as for the pure stocks, we made it about a half a lap before we darn near flipped somebody. Came back around and then made it one whole lap before we stacked everybody up and had a red flag. I was actually in that. They had to lift Jesse Collier's 46 off of my left front so I could get moving again. But just cosmetic damage, and once I got some room and figured out how the car felt, and I made a little air pressure change before the main, and it was running good. It was a hot rod. I survived to come in 6th for the main event, so not a bad showing. So I'm pretty happy. Loaded the car on the trailer, and we'll get her ready for our 2-day coming up over Memorial Day weekend. What do you got, Raz?
Speaking of Navy Chiefs, congrats to Jesse Collier. He retired this last week from the Navy as a chief. I actually don't know his full rank, but congrats to him.
Oh, cool. Well, yeah. And his car fared pretty good. He was running all night, and I think he came in 8th or 9th that last. So yeah, he was one of the few that survived the pure stock chaos on Saturday. Brandon, what do you got from pure stocks?
Well, let's see. First of all, I want to give a couple of things, a couple of shout outs. JT, our crew chief, had a pretty good start to his main event. He was up front for a couple of good laps there, so he turned some solid laps. So shout out to him. Also want to say speedy recovery to Mike Rumbaugh. I got a shirt on today. I seen he had some surgery stuff going on over the weekend, so Shout out to Mike Rumbaugh also. So with my ordeal, the 77 car unloaded, started the heat race behind Bridger, started 6th out of 10 cars. We had two 10-car heat races. Worked my way around the 32 car on the high side in turn 3 and 4, but no, I managed to get up into second. When I was making the pass for second, coming out of turn 2, the car outside of me drifted down into me and then boomeranged off my side and ended up in the fence. So we went caution there, and I lost 2 spots on the restart. So I finished 4th, which isn't bad. I'm not terribly mad. Put me starting 3rd row inside for the main event. The initial start was great. I got up into 3rd really quick, and then obviously the red flag came out, so called that back to a full restart. The next restart, I had another good start. I was still right there 4th. The leader spun out in front of us. I could see it happening on entry to turn 1. He was coming off of turn 2. I seen him going around, so I checked up on the bottom. But when I checked up, nobody else behind me decided it was a good idea to check up, so they just piled in. I mean, we had cars that were running 9th, 10th, 13th, 14th, 15th, 16th, 17th, stacked up into an accident that the leader spun out by himself. So obviously not very many people in the pure stocks figured out where the brake pedal was this last weekend. So that broke some stuff in my car because once I got ran over, obviously I just got on the gas to see if I could get into an open area that was in front of me, but there was no power, so I just coasted it to the infield, shut it down. So we'll take a look at that eventually at some point this week, but yeah, the car felt good up until it didn't. Right, Soper? Tell us about your operation.
Well, I can't say this for a fact, but in the sport mod class, I think I passed the most cars on Saturday, which isn't really a good thing. So in the heat race, we started, I think, last in our heat. We had Steven Luch in our heat and a couple other guys, and Steven got up there to the lead pretty quick, and I was running 3rd behind. I think we started 6 cars. I started, I don't know, 5th, something like that. Running 3rd behind the 25 car. He ends up going through 1 and 2, which 1 and 2 is what bit everybody pretty much all night long. It just was really dry slick, and it got really rough and upset the cars quite a bit. But 25 car went around. I could see him starting to go around. So rather than, plowing the side of his door or something, I just kind of put mine into a lazy spin. There wasn't really anywhere else to go. And I kind of nudged up beside him, and then we got ran into from the other side. So I ended up being in the middle of a sandwich, and it wrecked the car on both sides. Been not no frame bars, but been a bunch of Nerf bars and bracing and stuff. And I mean, by the time we finished that heat race in 2nd, so I mean, not too bad. But I wasn't even out of the car yet up at the pit, and I had 10 different people tearing stuff off the car, trying to straighten it up and get it back out there for the heat rate for the main event, which I wasn't even sure I was going to run because in that accident, man, I got the side-to-side jiggles in the head, and boy, I tell you what, that hurt. You watch the in-car footage, I hit my head side to side, and then I kind of grabbed my head for a second, and then back at it. And so I'm trying to get myself kind of gathered back up. They're fixing the car. Unfortunately, we totaled a car not my car, but we lost a car in the sport mods in that deal. The main event that puts us starting 7th, and we took us, I think, 3 attempts to get the race started because we just kept going into 1 and 2 and wrecking cars. And finally, we just went single file and started the race. After, I don't know, 4 or 5 laps, 2 or 3 cautions, whatever it was, I ended up finding myself in 3rd place, starting right beside the 47 car with the 29 laden, which, by the way, the 29 car, he was on a rail. He was fast. The kid's got talent. Man, now Mulvey. Talon Mulvey.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mulvey. The kid's got some talent. He was fast, man. Real good. So we were running door to door with Steven for 2 or 3 laps. Another caution comes out, and I had the last time we had crossed the stripe, I had him by a half a car, so that put me starting 2nd. So on that restart, I took the bottom. Steven took the top, and I goofed that. I should have taken the top. You could 1 and 2 was so slow you could kind of run door to door with somebody around there. 3 and 4 you wanted middle top because that was just where it was at. It was fast middle top. So anyways, fell back to third. Steven got me on the outside. And like I said, turn 2, man, I got in there. I got in the bumps. I went back and watched the video. The car's good until it hits the bumps, and once it hits the bumps, it unloads the rear end of the car, and it goes all the way around, and I end up collecting a couple cars with me. Feel bad about that deal, but that puts me restarting back in 10th, 11th, 12th, whatever it was. Well, then we go from 12th back up to 4th, battling for 3rd and 2nd with Talon and Damian Merritt, and ended up finishing 4th. We only ran 12 laps, 12 to 20, so we got cut short a few extra laps. Is what it is. I mean, when you run long, you run long. When people can't drive, they can't drive, and that happened to me too. So is what it is. 7th to 2nd to 12th to 4th. We went forward, so that's good. Car's good. Car's fast. Just got to gather it up and go again here in 4 weeks.
Oh yeah, you guys have a long break. I forgot about that.
Yep.
Get it together, man. Anyway, we're gonna go off the dirt to close it out for the night. Phil, you got some F1 news for us?
I do. I'm not going to talk about the Miami race. Those that watched it know that it was okay. But what's going on is that everybody's been talking about Max Verstappen and what the future holds for him in F1. And he has made it absolutely clear he does not like the new motor package, the 50-50 package. He has not been happy with it from day one. A lot of drivers are not happy with it because of the whole taking off. But Max, it came out this past week. I caught a news blurb that Red Bull might be looking at Oscar Piastri to try and take him from McLaren, and it's looking like that Max might go away from F1 altogether. They're saying at the end of next year he has the option that he might just go away from F1 altogether. Max has been running a Red Bull Mercedes AMG at the Nürburgring. And, there's that. So that's one of the 2 stories I got. Nothing set in stone. These are all just the rumblings in the pits. Silly season for F1 starting early. Then for 2027, F1 has made a ruled package change. They're adding 50 kilowatts to the internal combustion motor, and they're taking 50 kilowatts away from the electric side. So 2027, it's going to go back to more dependent on the F1 or the internal combustion side, and they're cutting back on the electric because the seesaw or whatever they're calling that in the drivers are doing. They're not able to get it figured out, and these are supposed to be the best drivers in the world, and it's creating. F1 has said it's creating an unsafe racing condition of what they're doing. So that's kind of where, there's more stories in F1 I don't need to go into, but that's kind of what I got on F1 this week.
They get it fixed because it's horrible to watch F1 right now with the way that the engine package is.
Absolutely. It's the guys come down the straightaways, and when they're deploying the battery, they're running like a scalded ape, but then you watch it and the cars just fall off. And there's been, even in the Miami race, there were a couple times where when the battery deployment died off and somebody else still had battery deployment, they're making some crazy adjustments, and it's creating some unsafe situations, and I'll just leave it at that. It has created some unsafe situations where we saw I think it was it Esteban Ocon and I can't remember his name, but he took an ADG hit, and the drivers came out and said that had nothing to do with driver ability. That was that the Alpine when the battery depleted, it went, and Was it Liam Neeson? Liam Lawson he was still coming on. And he had to make an adjustment, and it put him out in the grass, and he was sliding through the grass at speed, and just broadsided into the wall. So yeah, I agree. The drivers it's just an unsafe situation. So again, that's where we're at on F1 this week, guys.
Yay!
Yep.
Well, that brings us to a close. I hope everybody likes. We made some format changes. I hope people see them and appreciate them. Let us know in the comments if you think it's on the right track or if you want to see something different. We're going to put John Bridger on the hot spot right now and see if he remembers all the socials. John, what are the socials?
Hey, so we've got Dirty Sliders on Facebook. We also have at Dirty Sliders on X and Dirty.Sliders on Instagram. So yeah, hit us up.
And merch is on Patreon.
And merch is on Patreon. We got merch. You tell us what you want, and I know a guy that can get it done.
Like, comment, subscribe. Thank you, everybody. We appreciate it. Good night, everyone.
See you later.
See ya.